I'm Reza.
And I'm Rose.
And I'm Annie.
We were the three Ilongas who graduated in UPLIS, the former name of UP somewhere in the year 2000.
And we're proud to say that after UPILS studies, we became equipped with knowledge and excellence in our endeavor and became directors of various academic libraries here in Iloilo City.
And of course, we are so grateful that we are a part of the UPILS. For that, we were able to brought the culture of excellence in our respective libraries.
So to UP Sliss,
yeah, malibalik na pagsasulok sa ikasintaan na anibersaryo.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Hello and Happy New Year to everyone. I hope that you all had a meaningful holiday season. Welcome to the January edition and the first UPSLIS webinar for 2021. This is part of the hashtag Webinar Wednesday, offerings of the UP School of Library and Information Studies as we count down to our 60th anniversary this year. Today's talk is called Huwag, Kang, Pahuhuli. This is data privacy versus freedom of information. We welcome students and teachers of library and information science and information professionals in the Philippines and across the globe. I'm Paul Jason V. Perez, and I'm your faculty member from UPSLIS, your host and moderator for this webinar. Before we proceed, please take note that our webinar is in high definition or HD. For a more pleasurable viewing experience, please check and adjust the settings of this live stream to HD. You may also take the opportunity to check the audio and adjust the volume to a comfortable listening level. This webinar can be seen live on both our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, UP SLIS. So in the event that you encounter any issues on watching us live on Facebook, you may also watch this webinar at YouTube via the UP SLIS channel. We're now on our 7th month of our Webinar Wednesday series. These, along with our online talk shows For the Record, Faculty Room, Digital Scholarship Series, and the new online show called Coffee Break Reflections and Conversations, are part of our journey on the road to 60. Looking forward to the 60th anniversary of the UPSLIS this July 2021. Data privacy and freedom of information have never been more relevant, especially now that a lot of us are immersed in the digital life. Our topic for this afternoon is very interesting, and I'm sure that everyone, especially the younger generation, will find this talk engaging. Definitely, this webinar will be another fruitful learning experience for us all. But before our talks, allow me to explain the mechanics of this webinar. In case you miss portions of this webinar, you may view this as a Facebook video or check our YouTube channel at UPSLIS. If you have any questions during the lecture, you may post your questions by going to www.menti.com and typing in the code 5265664. All questions will be tackled in a question and answer portion after the speaker has presented. Please take note that we will not be entertaining questions posted in the comment section of this video. Again, you may post your question by going to menti.com and typing in the code 5265664. The website and code will be shown on screen throughout the lecture. At menti.com, you may view the questions posted by our other viewers. If a question you wish to ask has already been posted, please upvote the question by clicking its thumbs up icon so we can prioritize and address it first. We will be issuing certificates of participation to those who will be joining us in the live event. We ask that you finish the webinar and watch out for the announcement containing the link where you can register for your certificate. As part of the requirement for the certificate, you need to answer a question correctly. We advise that you listen intently to the speaker as he delivers his lecture. You can rewatch the video and try again if you answer incorrectly. For registered professionals, this webinar may be applied for continuing professional development or CPD as a self-directed learning activity. Again, Please stay with us until the end of the webinar for instructions on how to get your certificate. Okay, so for those who have just tuned in, again, this is Huwag Kang, Pahuhuli. This is a talk on data privacy versus freedom of information, a webinar organized by the UP School of Library and Information Studies. We are fortunate to have with us our speaker this afternoon. He's a distinguished member of the profession and is also one of our faculty members in UP SLIS. Attorney Rolly Francis Pioro is a human rights lawyer and a law professor. He obtained his Bachelor of Library and Information Science from the University of the Philippines, Diliman in 2007. After a brief corporate stint with Coca-Cola and Globe Telecom, he pursued a Juris Doctor degree in San Sebastian College, Recoletos College of Law as a working scholar. He finished his law degree in 2014 as its class valedictorian and recipient of the San Sebastian College Recoletos Academic Medal of Excellence. He passed the bar exams a year after and joined the Diaz del Rosario and Associates, handling high-profile cases. In 2015, pursuing his advocacies, he became the legal and advocacy officer of Kaisahan, a non-government, non-profit organization advocating for social justice through genuine agrarian reform and rural development. He helped farmers in the rural side of Negros and Leyte in finally claiming their awarded lands. Currently, Attorney Pioro is the Associate Dean of the San Sebastian College of Law. He teaches law at San Sebastian College, Recoletos College of Law, and the De La Salle University College of Law. He handles constitutional law, agrarian law, environmental law, and legal research. He's also a faculty member of the UP School of Library and Information Studies, teaching LIS 120 and 121. As a human rights lawyer, Attorney Piora serves as counsel for the marginalized sectors in cases involving extrajudicial killings, tokhang cases, and agrarian law implementation. He's also involved in other high-profile political cases and currently part of the legal team defending Senator Laila de Lima in the trump-up charges filed against the senator. In his pastime, he loves to climb mountains and to trail run. He's a former president of the UP Mountaineers. He's also a member of a student org in UP SLIS. He said that he just can't remember what specific org it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Attorney Rolly Francis Pioro.
Good afternoon, Sir PJ.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you for the kind introduction. No? I am really a member of, I really can't remember if it's Lisa or Flip, but I am a member of an organization in UPSLIS. So thank you for that introduction, and I am very thankful to UPSLIS for this opportunity to share my knowledge regarding data privacy and freedom of information. I handle these courses, we tackle these subjects in LIS 120 and 121, and even in our constitutional law subjects, especially in the Bill of Rights. So let me share my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's start. The first question that I always ask is the why. Why are we here? And my students usually answer this, para ho may baon. But in this time of pandemic, I find it very irrelevant. Wala ata silang baon ngayon. More on house chores ang nadagdag sa kanila. But in the end of our session, I just want us to be, guardians of information and eventually of justice. And hopefully, we can gather light to scatter it everywhere, especially to those fellow Filipino citizens who are not knowledgeable of our rights, especially in data privacy and freedom of information. So that's it. The topic na I was very fond of, because The title is Huwag Kang Papahuli. And during my college days, it's my mantra, no? Huwag Kang Papahuli. I'm an avid suki of the UPDP, no, for various reasons. Bilang isang aktivista. And when I heard data privacy and freedom of information, the title versus freedom of information, the first question that I asked, is there any conflict between these two concepts? Are they exclusive? No? When you speak of data privacy, does it conflict with freedom of information? No? And during our class in LIS 120, we usually tackle these questions. So let me share these questions. First, no, regarding phones, no, does intimacy between husband and wife give a license to the other not to ransack the other cabinets or other laptops and other private documents? So, can I check his phone while he's sleeping? Anyway, we're already married. No? So, sa mga married dyan, I'm sure they're very curious regarding the answer in this question. No? In 120, this is one of the staple questions. So, sa mga next students ng 120, take note. No? Budak has suspicions that her husband, Pong Pagong Jr., is having extramarital affairs. To prove her suspicions, Budak decided to discreetly check Pong's laptop. There and then, she discovers videos, pictures of intimacies showing the intimacy between Pong Pagong and Kika Maching. Using the said discovered evidence against the couple, no, against her husband and his paramour, Budak files a concubinage case. But we know that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. No, Budak also filed a case before the Board of Librarians, considering that Pong is a librarian and the prayer for the complaint is for similar to a disbarment in the lawyers, in the lawyer's case. Gusto niya ma-revoke or suspend the license of Pong. No? And take note, under our code of ethics, librarians are mandated to follow all laws, including the revised penal code. So when you are held liable for a crime, then you might be found guilty also of gross misconduct that will result in your revocation, in the revocation of your license. So if you were a member of the board, how would you resolve the complaint? No? At the end of the lecture, if you can gather at least 50 points, you may get a prize from Sir PJ, no? Maybe his mic. So that's it. The second scenario is, can a prisoner enjoy the right to privacy? No? Or the mere imprisonment result in the abolition of your privacy rights, no? Or the diminishment of your privacy right. No? Ang isang example na naman in our LS 120, no? While serving his sentence in Bilibid, Dagul, who regularly reads in the prison's library, found out that Miss Chismosa is consistently reporting to her warden all the records or all the books that he read, no, in the prison's library. As a result, Dagul filed a complaint. Sinasabi niya, no, that's a violation of my privacy rights. No? Even I am a prisoner, I am still a human and I enjoy all human rights. So would you agree with Dagul? No? So that's another 10 points. The third scenario would be regarding library fees, yung tinatakal namin sa LIS 120. No? Can we post the details of the library fines to enforce the rules? Would it violate any rights? No? The question that I usually answer is this. No? Despite numerous demands, some students still fail to settle their dues in the library. No? As a result, the librarians in Miss Tita of Manila opted to post this in the school bulletin board. No? The names were posted, the material, and the corresponding penalties. And if you will look, the materials and the students, no, for example, see Mr. Alpha Beta Max, the recent material that he borrowed and have not yet returned to the library, no, is this one, no, the bomba, how to make Molotov bombs. His penalty is already 500 pesos. The other one, see Mr. Boy Bastos, the material that he borrowed is entitled Be Positive, no, how to make sure GF is pregnant or not, the do's and don'ts. no, with the corresponding penalty of 2,500. And the other, the girl, the Miss Mimi Mayumi, no, a biography of Coco Martin. No? So yun yung mga material. No? Feeling aggrieved, the students filed their complaint before the principal. No? If you were the principal, no, how would you rule on the complaint considering that Miss Tita, the librarian, argued that the posting of such notice is already a standard procedure? And if no, there's a victim blaming pa na nangyari, had the students been responsible, the said notice would not have been necessary. No? So yan, ano kaya ang mga rights na na-violate? If there is any. How about, can the law enforcement agencies, no, access student records? This is the Diliman commune. No? Kita naman natin na this is a very sensitive question regarding UP students, lalo na with the current administration. No? The question that I usually ask in the class is this one. In view of the recent attempted suicide of a student who said depression, no, a police is ordered to gather information, and he noticed that the student, prior to the incident, no, was always in the library. So they went to the library, the police officer, and asked the librarian, no, but the librarian refused to release any student records as there was no search warrant. However, the police argued, no, that due to the sensitivity of the case, there's no need to obtain a search warrant. Still, the librarian refused. Do you agree with the librarian? No. And would your answer be the same if the person asking for the information were Jose's parents instead of the police? Would you release now, no, the data? No, what are the books that were read by Jose? No, what are the materials? No, or in case he's accessing the computer in the library, what are the websites? No, na pinuntahan niya? Would your answer be the same if instead of suicide, Jose had recently bombed the municipal plaza or attended a rally that resulted in violence? No? So those are the questions. Would you be, no, as the protector of that data, of that information, give in to the demands of the police? No? In case of breach, no, would I be criminally liable for what? For what case? No? It's like in the case of Maria Ressa. Yan yung mga magandang dinidiscuss. In the case of Dicini, this one was posted. No? At laging tinatanong to even your relatives or friends. No? The example in my 120 exam, no, is that this one. No? Curious that Gerald did not pursue courting her, Bea posted on her Facebook page, Gerald is a thief, magnanakaw ng puri at puso, istapador, hayop ka. No? Immediately thereafter, Kim nag-like, no? She pressed the like button while Sarah shared it, no, with joy, no? While Bea, no, while Pia commented, no, posted a new derogatory remark, no, with hayop, lover boy. And where's Maha also commented, he also beat his yayas, no? If you were Gerald, no, can you file a libel case against Bea? Is there any violation of your privacy right? No. Would Kim, Sarah, Pia, and Maha, those that just like, posted the comment, no, or even merely shared the post of Bea, would they be liable for aiding or abetting in libel? No? So medyo may chilling effect pag hindi mo alam. Yung kaya yung iba hindi nagsishare na nagsishare because I might be held liable. Recently, no, with the rape and the death of the flight attendant, it's a very hot issue now on social media, and medyo may mga chilling effect yung mga ibang announcement ng PNP or ng other parties. No? And the very recent, the red tagging, is it even legal? No? Does it violate the right of the person being red tagged? No? Or the government just can do that, no? Especially if you're the head of the AFP, the Armed Forces, or the spokesperson of the National Task Force to end the local armed conflict. Diba? And she's an alumna of UP. Diba? Oto, paborito ko. Why I'm in that list, Mr. President? I hate drugs, no? If it's a Tokang list, I'll be included. But if it's for relief goods, I'll be excluded. No? Bakit ganon? Parang hindi ko alam kung paano napupunta yung listahan. And can I even question that drug matrix or my inclusion in whatever list? Diba? Can I invoke Transparency 101? Can I? No? Am I entitled to a freedom of information? And what are the bounds? What are my limitations? No, recently, the President was confronted with the question regarding his health. No? Attorney Dini De Leon, one of my co-lawyers in Dilima, filed this petition asking the Supreme Court, no, to compel Duterte to reveal his health status. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court blocks with finality. No, it did not even order the president executive to file any comment. And if you're aware, currently the president refuses to divulge or report the spending of intelligence funds. That's billion pesos. As a citizen, are we entitled to know this? Is this covered of our freedom of information? Yan mga medyo marami-raming tanong. Kumbaga kung nasa SARAS tayo, medyo mahaba-habang kwentuhan to. No? And it's very important that we know our basic rights. No? And it's the right to privacy. Let's start with the right to privacy, and then we'll go later on with the freedom of information. Right to privacy basically comes from the Latin word privus. No? At ang ibig sabihin lang naman yan, it's the right to be let alone. In other cases, it's being explained as the personal zone of seclusion, the right to have one separate corner of the sky. No? Make no mistake, privacy does not only mean confidentiality. It's a bigger concept, it's a broader concept. Hindi lang siya regarding data. No? So we're starting with the data, with the privacy concept, then we'll go with the data privacy. Medyo similarly, pero hindi pa rin siya totally the same. No? Ang privacy, sabi nga in the article of Justice Brandeis, very significant and often cited, it is the right to be let alone. It's the most comprehensive rights and the right most valued by men. No? I'm showing to you 4 images. No? First, regarding abortion. No? The second, on top right, is the same-sex marriage. Sa bottom naman would be an image regarding the lending application. Sobrang dami nito. Sobrang dami nito. And the other is regarding hacking. In these 4, tingin nyo ano lang yung mga issues that do involve privacy. And most often than not, in our class, the 4th one, yun lang ang sasabihin na involving issue of privacy. This one, the hacking incident, because there's already a disclosure or a breach regarding the privacy right. But when you say about abortion, the marriage, there's no privacy concern pa rin dyan. But let me explain that privacy right has 3 strands. First, the locational privacy, the decisional privacy, and the informational privacy. Locational privacy regarding your physical setup. Ito yung give me my space. Literal. Sa literal. Do not trespass. Yan ang locational privacy. But the other 2 important, very important, is the decisional privacy and the informational privacy, which talks about this. When you say decisional privacy, it's the interest and independence in making certain kinds of important decisions, to make the liberty to make the fundamental choices in your life. So let me be. Kung gusto kong DDS ako, I'll be a DDS. If I'll be a Dilawan, I'll be a Dilawan. Let him be. Let her be. The other one that would be the topic of this session would be the informational privacy, the data privacy. It's the individual interest in avoiding disclosure of personal matters. So yan yung sakop niyan. And in the US jurisprudence, sobrang marami siyang cases. In the United States and Europe, the data privacy or the informational privacy is actually an evolution. Matagal siyang nangyari. While in the Philippines, it's basically a revolution. Out of nowhere, biglang nagkaroon tayo ng mga ganitong ideas, adopting the concepts in the US and in the Europe, considering our transformation to the digital world. The digital transformation gives us so heavy a reason to be invested in data privacy rights. Lalo na ngayon with the advent of the data-intensive systems, sobrang kailangan nating malaman yung ating data privacy right. In Mayer, sinasabi niya lang naman na privacy is not merely the freedom, yung physical freedom or the liberty, but it's also the right of the individual to contract, to engage in any of the common occupations of life to acquire useful knowledge, to marry, to establish a home, and bring up children, to worship God, everything, no? As essential to the orderly pursuit of happiness by free men. Kaya ang sinasabi natin kanina, in decisional privacy, it's the right of an individual, no, to make the fundamental choices of his life. No? So if he wants or she wants to marry, someone of the same sex, then let him or let her be. Let them be. No? That is a privacy right. No? If he or if she do not want to beget a child, if do not want to get pregnant, it's one of a privacy right. No? So pag titingnan mo, yan yun. No? As early as 1928, actually earlier pa meron ng mga cases sa US. In Katz versus United States, ito na may tungkol sa wiretapping incident. No? Ang argument, kita naman siya transparent yung phone booth. No? Wala namang curtains So we can interfere dahil wala namang reasonable expectation of privacy. But in the dissenting opinion, brushing aside that argument that the booth was made of transparent glass and thus not private, the court noted what he sought to exclude when he entered the booth was not the intruding eye. It was the uninvited ear. So doon natin titignan yung mga arguments ng Supreme Court. What a person knowingly exposes to the public, even in his home or office, is not a subject of Fourth Amendment protection, but what he seeks to preserve as private, even an area accessible to the public, may be constitutionally protected. Dito na nagsimula yung sobrang leaning ng mga institutions in the US and in Europe na talagang bigyan ng importansya ang data privacy. So these considerations do not vanish when the search in question is transferred from the setting of a home, an office, or a hotel room to that of a telephone booth. Wherever man may be, he is entitled to know that he will remain free from unreasonable searches and seizures. So yun yung mga foundation ng privacy. One more regarding decisional privacy in Loving versus Virginia, the US Supreme Court struck down a statute that forbade interracial marriage. Alam naman natin in the South, Louisiana, bawal yung mixed marriages, interracial marriage. But sabi ng Supreme Court, that is to deny the fundamental freedom. So I'm just driving home the point that privacy is not just merely data privacy or informational privacy, but it includes the totality of the three strands: the locational, the decisional, and the informational privacy. Yan. As echoed, reiterated in Zablocki versus Redhale, pati yung sa Whalen versus Roe, persons must be free from unwarranted government intrusion into the matters so fundamentally affecting a person. Kunwari, yung sa reproductive health, yung ipoprohibit mo yung use ng condoms or pills, how can you implement yung pag-check ng naka-condom ba yan or hindi? For sure, there must be a governmental intrusion. Papasok ka sa room. You're committing a crime. That's basically a major governmental intrusion that must not be allowed. Di ba? That's a violation of the privacy. Pati nga yung sa abortion, the decision whether or not to beget or bear a child is at the very heart of this cluster of constitutionally protected choices. Itong case ng Roe versus Wade, ay hindi gaanong na-cite in the Philippine jurisprudence considering it is an abortion case. Bawal kasi. Because of the criminal. But I think the argument regarding decisional privacy ay nandun pa rin. When we speak of Philippine setting naman, halos kopyang-kopya rin lang naman. We have this constitutional right to privacy. Kahit hindi siya sinasabi ng specifically as the right to privacy, we have constitutional guarantees under Article 3, which provides for these zones of privacy. First, the right against unreasonable searches and seizures is the basis of the right to be let alone. And second, the right to privacy of communication and correspondence. Ang lagi ang sinasabi, a man's house is his own castle. Hayaan mo siya dyan. You cannot intrude, you cannot enter without his permission. Kahit ikaw pa yung hari or ikaw yung presidente, you cannot search or seize unreasonably any property of a private citizen unless meron kang search warrant. Yun yung matinding requirement. Kaya in several cases, in the Cini case, in Vivares case, and Sulweta, no? Sinasabi nila na maraming pinumbras ang privacy. No? It includes the freedom of speech, the freedom of association, right against unreasonable search, and even the right against self-incrimination. Pag ayaw niya magsalita, let him be. That's his right, di ba? No? Anyway, in case of prosecution, the prosecution has the burden to prove beyond reasonable doubt the guilt of someone, and it must stand on its own merit regardless of the weakness of the defense. No? So hayaan mo lang siya kung ayaw niya, but you have the burden. No? At ang mahalaga laging tatandaan regarding data privacy is the exclusionary rule, or what we call the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. No? It states that any evidence obtained in violation of this or the preceding section, including section 17 regarding the right against self-incrimination, shall be inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. Walang gamit yan. Walang gamit yan. No? So just to answer yung kanina nakapart, no? Which will be also answered in the case of Sulweta, no? Yung intimacy between a husband and a wife does not provide any one of them, no, to intrude, no, or to breach any private documents or chambers of the other. It is a violation of the privacy right. And any evidence obtained in violation shall be inadmissible. Kahit huling-huli, no? Hindi tulad ng mga PNP and the PSG, we are still a government of laws and not government of men. No? We will always still follow the procedures, the laws. Kung yan ay obtained in violation of our constitutional right, no, then it must not be admitted. Otherwise, that will open a floodgate that will result in numerous violation of human rights. Kung hindi ka apektado ngayon, I'll tell you, baka bukas ikaw na. So all of us must be very vigilant, no, in protecting these rights. And there are several statutes protecting our right to privacy. We have our civil code, no, yung providing for remedy regarding prying into privacy. You can file damage case, no, yung mga torts cases, no, kung maraming chismoso sa kapitbahay mo, no, bawal yan, no, under the civil code, no. The aggrieved party is entitled, no, to file case for damages. Under your revised penal code, no, revelation of trade secrets, of information by government officers are all offenses, criminal offenses. Even trespassing, bawal yung mga yan. No? The anti-wiretapping law of 1965, bawal din yan. Bawal, no? You cannot tap into a person's communication devices, no, and listen to his or her communication. Kahit nga grupo kayo no? If you did not get the consent of everyone, then you cannot divulge whatever, no, yung napag-usapan na na-record mo. You also have the Anti-Photo and Video Voyeurism Act of 2009 under RA 9995. And the recent laws, ito yung mga mahalaga, the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, the Human Security Act of 2001, which is now repealed by the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, no? Under RA 11479. The Anti-Terrorism Act, I'll tell you, valid yung mga concerns ng mga taong nagsasabi na delikado to. We joined the petitions filed before the Supreme Court, no, and one of our concern is regarding the right to privacy. Under Section 16 hanggang 21 Anti-Terrorism Act, it allows law enforcement agencies to do surveillance, no, for an surveillance of an individual for a maximum period of 60 days, no, at pwede pang extend. Take note yun, ex parte application yun. You will never know that you're under surveillance kung nag-grant yun ng court. And for 60 days, no, kaya niyang alamin kung ano nang pinagagawa mo. No? Regarding data privacy, always take note that informational privacy has two aspects. First, ito yung alam ng mga tao lang, no? The right not to have private information disclosed. But for me, the better one, no, is the right to live freely without surveillance and intrusion. Because if you are not being subjected into surveillance, no, wala silang malalamang information sa'yo. No? Walang malalaman. Kung meron man yan, no, that private information must not be disclosed without your consent. That is your informational privacy. It's very important. It's very important. At ang two-part test, basically, ang question, is there a reasonable expectation of privacy? Ikaw ba ay umaasa na irerespeto yung privacy mo? Nasa bahay ka, nagkakapi ka, mamaya may mga paparazzi. Is there a violation of privacy? Yes, no? Because you're expecting that when you're inside your house, no, walang outsider, di ba? Hindi nilang malalaman. No? Paano naman pag nasa Facebook ka na, nagpo-post ka ng pictures mo, no? Is there a reasonable expectation of privacy? No, mamaya malalaman natin yan in the case of Vivares. No, in the case of Vivares, there are high school students, no, girls, posted pictures in swimsuits. Tapos na-share hanggang hindi sila na-allow to attend their graduation ceremonies because all girl. No? Is there a violation of their privacy rights considering that their pictures, no, wearing only swimsuits were shared without their consent? Ang sabi dun sa case ng Vivares, there was no violation of privacy rights. Bakit kaya? No? And the second test would be, does the society, no, expect that your privacy under those circumstances would be respected? No? So basically, customs, community norms, and practices, no, may limit or extend an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy. Yan yung kailangan nating tandaan. Okay. Ang recent batas na kailangan nating aralin, lalo na, no, for us, informational professionals, is the Data Privacy Act of 2012. No? It goes hand in hand with the Cybercrime Prevention Act or the RA 10175. The Data Privacy Act is Republic Act number 10173. So makita nyo, halos sabay silang naipasa. No? The Data Privacy Act of 2012. Basically, I got this from the NPC, suki na ako ng National Privacy Commission, no, of their website because of the numerous complaints, no, arising from this by virtue of this law which expressly provides for our rights. The Data Privacy Act basically covers 5 areas, no? The definitions for us to be guided, ano ba ang personal information, anong sensitive personal information, what's processing, no? And the Privacy Act, no, the Data Privacy Act also gives the mandate for the National Privacy Commission. Binuo niya na yung commission na yan. The most important would be the rights of data subjects and the obligation of personal information controllers and processors. It also provides for penalties and provisions specific to government. Diyan natin makita, no? Finally, following and copying the other practices in Europe and the United States, nagkaroon tayo ng specific law which expressly provides for our data rights, no, data subject rights, no. It's governed of these following principles. It should be transparent, legitimate, and proportionate. No? If your personal information, no, of a data subject, if an information of data subject would be processed, it should always be transparent. No? Dapat alam ng tao na gagamitin yung kanyang information. It should be for legitimate purposes only. No? And yung proportionate lang na information ang kailangan makuha. And for the security measures following the Cybercrime Prevention Act, no, we always protect these three. CIA triad na tinatawag nila. No? The confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Any actions that would breach or violate the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, no, under the Cybercrime Prevention Act is a criminal offense. At hinighlight pa yan ng Data Privacy Act, no, nagkakaroon na yung illegal processing, access, are also punishable under the Data Privacy Act. So yan yung titignan natin ng mga principles ng Data Privacy Act of 2012. No? At ilalatag niya yung rights ng mga data subject. No? Pag sinabing data subject, basically it's the person, no, whose personal information are being processed. So kung yung pictures mo pinaprocess, kinuha ng telecom yung personal details, no, that would be used for marketing, umutang ka sa isang lending app, then they access your contacts, no? You are now a data subject, and you should be aware of these rights under the Data Privacy Act, no? Basically, yan, no? The right to be informed, no? Dapat the processor, no, the data processor should inform the data subject, no, that this information would be used and for what purpose, no? The next would be the right to access, no? You can request, no? What are the data about me that your system is storing? Ano ba ang nandyan sa inyo, no? And in case that I have objections, no, I have the right to object, no? Meron pa ang tinatawag na the right to be forgotten, no? You can file sa Google, no? If you don't want your name to be searched, no? There are other lawyers, no, which you cannot search in Google. Why? Ayaw nila, no? No? Or if there are other entries that you think would violate, no, or would put a negative remark regarding your reputation, no, you have the right to object, no, or the right to erasure or blocking. Kasama yan sa iyong mga data rights. In case of breach or non-compliance, you can file a complaint before the National Privacy Commission. No? Pwede ka na mag-file ng complaint. You also have the right to damages, no? In case nagamit yan sa maling paraan, no? You can file a claim for damages, no? You have now the right to file a complaint. At mabilis kumilos ang NPC, no? Mabilis sila, no? In case there are errors or you want to correct any information about you, no, you have the right to rectify. At ang isa pang mahalaga, the right to data portability, no? Pwede mo makuha ulit yung mga data about you, no, in that system. Especially now that many of our friends, no, want to avoid Facebook muna because very toxic daw, no? But there are already a lot of pictures. Basically, your whole life is already on Facebook. No? If you will look at the pictures, paano yan pag umalis ka? No? Can I bring all those pictures with me? Can it be, are the data portable? No? Can I get it? And the answer is yes. No? So yun yung mga ino-offer ng Data Privacy Act. Okay, no? So, bakit siya importante? No? Are there any threats? Are there any threats? No? And you will know if you have watched the Social Dilemma or just watching the news, no, regarding Snowden, you will know that with our shift, no, with our digital transformation, shift into the digital world, mas naging immense yung threats regarding data privacy, no? And the challenges are very daunting. Dati kasi ang stalker mo lang yung crush, yung may crush sa'yo nung kinder o yung kaaway mo nung grade 2 no? Right now, hindi lang sila, no? And it's not only the private individual but also the government. No? In the novel of Orwell, di ba? Nandiyan na si Big Brother. Nandiyan na si Big Brother and they're watching us. They're watching us. If you have just noticed yung compromising news regarding Chin Paredes, paano nila na-access yung kanyang phone? Di ba? Yung mga leaks sa mga communication regarding fraternities, paano lumabas yung mga yon? Di ba? In one case, no, in the drug case that I've handled, especially including kay Senator, the government offices, no, are all accessing the phones that they have confiscated, no, and they're not obtaining any search warrant to access those phones. This is in direct violation of the provision under Section 12 of the Cybercrime Prevention Act, which provides that any access, no, in computer systems must only be done through a search warrant. Dapat may corresponding search warrant. And they do not do that. So, sobrang nakakatakot. Ang sinasabi nga nila, if you're holding your phone, your smartphone, it's basically a building. No? Ang laking building na ang daming cabinets. No? And you can access all data there. At under our rules, lalo na sa ating constitution, dapat if you, if your office or your home will be subjected to a search, dapat very specific yung search. No? Anong room, anong cabinet, dapat ganun. Hindi siya scattered, no? Or shotgun warrant na kahit ano pwede. Sa case ni Snowden, no, we've been informed that governments are watching us. Basically, sasabihin nila, this is for the good of the society. No? Protection naman natin to eh. But just like any technology, no, yung benefits merong corresponding threats. Lalo na pag naabuso siya. No? You can be subjected to prosecution or worse, no, persecution with all your data gathered in the internet. No? In the Dicini case, sabi nga ng Supreme Court, it was held unconstitutional the provision that allows for the government to gather traffic data. Sabi ng gobyerno, traffic data lang naman, no? The packets of information, kunwari saan ka nag-email, kanino, saan pumuntang IP address yan, gano'ng karaming information. But Justice Breon and other justices said, no, that those small packets of information, when gathered, no, will already create a database of information which later on can be used against that individual. Alam mo na kung sinong ini-email niya, kanino papunta yung email niya everyday, kahit hindi mo alam individual. Ano yung mga transactions niya, ano yung mga websites na pinupuntahan niya, kailan siya nagkakaroon ng bank transactions, sino ang kausap niya lagi, or anong phone number. No? You will now create a digital profile of that individual. And if you have watched isang documentary, Japanese documentary, the digital twin, no, using only Google information, no, they have created a digital profile of that individual. And even without knowing kung sino siya, nasaan siya, no, the proponents were able to get the picture, the profile, the name, all data using only Google data. Di ba? Ang galing, galing. No? That is the threat. No? And if we will go to the Philippine setting, talaga, the data privacy, no, the future of data privacy is very bleak. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko eh. I think we still do not have the capability, no? Even if you ask the PNP and the AFP, meron na bang separate office that's capable to prevent these attacks? And the NBA will tell you na we're working on it. It's a work in progress. No? Ang pinakamalaking threat na nangyari is the hack of the COMELEC website. No? And all our informations, no, were obtained by these hackers. Your name, your address, lahat ng kailangan mo to fill up a bank application is there. Diba? Your birthday, these are all personal information, and some are even sensitive personal information. Recently, meron to yung mga lending applications, and I was very aware because tinawagan ako ng isang lending application eh. One of my contact, no, applied for this loan, and the lending application was able to access his contacts, yung numbers. Nakuha yung number ko, and they texted all, no, informing them that this person ay may utang at hindi pa niya binabayaran, nakakahiya siya, no. Is there a violation of your privacy rights? Yes, of course, di ba? No? Dapat yung reputation mo ay napapangalagaan din, no? And mere access doon sa yung mga contacts, that's very that's very strange, no, and very illegal. No? And ito, I'm very sad, no, that maraming lumalabas na event. I've handled several cases, no, regarding yung mga revenge porn, no, yung mga videos that are very, it will implicate, no, or would put you in would compromise that individual, no, nare-record and they can access it, no, and being used for extortion, no, yan yung mga threats. Well, we have remedies, no. We can, under the Cybercrime Prevention, you can file a case, including in the Data Privacy Act, no, yung mga malicious disclosure, the breach. In fact, the agencies are required to file to report any breach, no, and they will be also held liable. No? Under the Supreme Court rules, we also have this the writ of habeas data. It's a remedy for any person whose right to privacy is being violated. Pwede siyang mag-file noon, no? And the court will order yung respondent to explain bakit siya merong information regarding that individual, no? And if necessary, the court can even order the retrieval and destruction of that information regarding the victim. Yun yung mga kailangan nating malaman sa data privacy. Maraming privacy jurisprudence. It even started in 1968. Nakakatuwa to, the Mofe versus Muto regarding SALN. No? There's a politician na nagrereklamo siya na the requirement for public officers to file a statement of assets and liabilities is basically an oppressive exercise of police power and a violation of the right to privacy. Sabi niya, no? In Morpher versus Mutok, sinabi niya na the right to be let alone is indeed the beginning of all freedom. But take note, no? Even the DOJ and the executive secretary argued na sabi nila, when a government official, no, like yung nagrereklamo, no, accepts a public position, he is deemed to have voluntarily assumed the obligation to give information about his personal affair, not only at the time of his assumption of office, but during the time he continues to discharge public trust. The private life of an employee cannot be segregated from his public life. Gusto ko nga itong ipabasa sa mga government officers natin ngayon. Nagsasabi mong wala namang kwenta yung salin ngayon. Guys, take note that even in 1968, as early as 1968, ito na ang proclamation ng ating society. No? The SALN merely seeks to adopt a reasonable measure of ensuring the interests of general welfare in honest and clean public service. There is no violation of privacy right. Kasi kung ayaw mo malaman namin yung personal details mo, yung statement of assets and liabilities, you are not compelled or forced, no, to run for public office. But every time, no, you are appointed, no, or voted for a public office, then you are required to be transparent, no? So nothing can be clearer, therefore, than that the Anti-Graft Act of 1960, pinalitan na ho to, meron na tayong Republic Act of 1319, no? It was precisely aimed at curtailing and minimizing the opportunities for official corruption, no? Para magkaroon ng standard ng honesty in the public service. Other case, no, ito si Susulweta. Totoo po to na nangyari si doktor, no? The wife ransacked, no, the cabinet, no, and found evidence of infidelity, and nag-file siya ng case, no, sa Board of Medicine requesting for the revocation ng license ng husband. In the Supreme Court, sabi nila, no, kasi the husband argued, those evidence are inadmissible for violation of my right to privacy. In the court, yes. Sabi ng Supreme Court, yes. The intimacies between husband and wife do not justify any of them in breaking the drawers and cabinets of the other and in ransacking them for any telltale evidence of marital infidelity. A person, no, by contracting marriage does not shed his or her integrity or his right to privacy in an individual, and the constitutional protection is ever available to him or to her. So dun sa example natin kanina, kahit alam nating huli, no, but considering the exclusionary rule, no, or the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, that evidence cannot be used. No, it is inadmissible and cannot be used in any proceeding for whatever purpose. Therefore, dahil wala kang ebidensya, walang kaso. No? Lagi tayong dapat susunod doon sa ating mga batas. In the Dicini versus Secretary of Justice, this is a case regarding the Cybercrime Prevention Act. Maraming nag-file, no? Sabi nga nila, marami siyang issue. Cybercrime Prevention Act. Maraming provisions sa Cybercrime Prevention Act regarding the confidentiality, integrity, and availability no information ay mako-compromise. So sinabi ng Dicini lang naman, no, na may mga zones nga ng privacy. Kailangan natin, we need to always respect these constitutional guarantees and its corresponding zones of privacy. The unreasonable searches and seizures must not be allowed. No, and the right to privacy in communication and correspondence must always be upheld. Yan yung ginagawa ng Dicini. May discussion then regarding liabilities, especially in cyber libel, and Supreme Court held in Dicini, no, na yung mga sharing ng information when you post sa mga social networks, the person that must be held liable only for derogatory remarks, so libelous remarks, ay yung nag-post, no, the creator. But those, no, that shared, liked, no, or commented, no, cannot be held liable for abetting or assisting in libel. Otherwise, that would result in a chilling effect. Wala nang gagalaw, no? But take note din, no? May kulatulya pa na isa, if the comment posted or the remark posted, no, is another derogatory remark, then that is a separate libel case. No, but if you merely shared, like, ano yan, there's no liability, no? Sabi ng Disini. In the case of Alejano, no, the Magdalo soldiers, sinabi ng Supreme Court, the prisoner's expectation of privacy always yield to what must be considered a paramount interest in institutional security. So, may kaunting qualification, ang reasonable expectation of privacy if you're a prisoner, no? The curtailment of certain rights is necessary, sabi ng Supreme Court. As a practical matter, baka ang inaaral niyan gumawa ng bomba, di ba? To accommodate a myriad of institutional needs and objectives of prison facilities, chief among which is internal security. So, dun sa example natin kanina, may catch no? May catch yung privacy right ng prisoner. But take note, again, no, mahilig kasi ako sa exceptions. Ano yung exemption sa mga rule na to? If the correspondence is between the prisoner and the lawyer, or doctor, the priest, yung mga privileged communication na tinatawag natin, no, that still enjoys itong mga privacy privileges na to. No? Yan ang sinasabi ng case ni Alejano. Punta naman tayo ng mabilis, no, sa freedom of information. Sorry, medyo sa ora di peligro at itong topic natin, medyo aantokin talaga tayo. No? But I hope, no, buhay-buhay pa tayo. Regarding freedom of information, there are also constitutional guarantees. So gusto nating malaman, what's the difference between the data privacy, what my right to privacy, and my freedom of information, right to information? Is there any conflict between these two rights? No? Under our Constitution, no, the freedom of speech, expression, and of the press, no, are always respected. And under your Section 7, people have the right, no, to information on matters of public concern. Take note lang na yung nakalagay dito ay information on matters of public concern. We have access to official records and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions, or decisions. Pati sa government research data used as basis for policy development shall be afforded the citizen. Dati kasi before the Marcos era, sabihin nila, based on our study, no, ito ang dapat ng policy, based on our research, but they will not always disclose whatever the research, no? So, under our 1987 Constitution, sinabi na specifically, even the government research data must be disclosed. Hindi mo na sasabihin na lang na under the study, bawal na yan. No? And under our Article 2, the state, no, follows these state policies. Ang inuuna ko ay yung Section 28 na ang sinasabi, the state adopts and implement a policy of full public disclosure of all its transactions involving public interest. The general rule when it comes to government, it is always full public disclosure. No? Ang sinasabi nga ng Section 24, there's a vital role, no, the communication information in nation building. So dapat lagi magkaroon ng freedom of information. At ang sinasabi nga natin ng mga basis niya, no, is the intellectual freedom. Kahit yung ALA, nare-recognize to na yung we have the right to access and share information, no, to intellectual activity and creativity, to expression and debate. Mahalaga to sa isang democratic society. For you to create, no, important decisions, you need to be informed. And for you to be informed, you need to have access to this information. Otherwise, kung isang side lang nakikita mo, you cannot create, no, an informed consent. No? Ang intellectual freedom is the right of every individual to seek and receive information. No? So let him share his information. Gusto niyang kumanta, gusto niyang mag-perform, gusto niyang mag-lecture, let him be para ma-receive ko yun. No? Both of us are entitled, no, under our intellectual freedom. It provides for free access to all expression of ideas through which any and all sides of a question, cause, or movement may be explored. Yun. Mahalaga yan, lalo na sa ating mga informational professionals. No? Tulad na nabanggit ko, sa isang democratic society, a fair and prosperous democratic society is built upon access to information and ideas. the ability to develop knowledge and communicate with others. Diyan lumalabas ang importance ng freedom of information. Basically, intellectual freedom is the basis for our democratic system. No? Ito, natutunan ko pa to kay Dean Vaiva, no? Kay Attorney Vaiva Aguirre. Lahat ng mga, and I find it very relevant pa rin hanggang ngayon. Sabi nga, we expect our people to be self-governors, but to do so responsibly, our citizenry must be well-informed. Libraries provide ideas and information in a variety of formats to allow people to inform themselves. No? Yan yung principle ng intellectual freedom. The idea that democracy is dependent upon free and open access to ideas are hallmarks of the library and education professions. So we perform this important role to make sure that information can be accessed by any individual. Kahit nga sa Universal Declaration of Human Rights, sinasabi niya na everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. No? So, just to recap, no, under our Constitution, meron tayong freedom of information. Under Section 7, no, the right of the people, no, to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized. Lagi dapat yan ma-recognize sa constitutional mandate. But the question is, do we have a freedom of information law? No, meron ba tayong ganyan? Wala po. Wala pa tayong law. Wala pa tayong statute regarding freedom of information. Unlike in the Data Privacy Act, Cybercrime Prevention Act, meron na talaga tayong mga Republic Acts. But the freedom of information still lingering in the halls of the Congress for how many Congress na? Ang dami na. Halos 2 dekada na po ito na pending Freedom of Information Bill. Meron po tayo, the current status list, we have this Executive Order number 2 issued by President Duterte in July of 2016. Upon assumption of office, sabi niya na, sige, let's issue Executive Order number 2 or the Freedom of Information. No? And it mandates all government offices under the executive branch. Under the executive branch lang po. No? To provide access to all Filipino regarding information, official records, public records and documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions, or decisions, as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development. Basically, Executive Order number 2 is only an echoing of the provision under Section 7 of Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution. So sinabi niya under the executive branch, all government offices, if there's a request, provide it. Give our citizens access to government information. Sinabi niya yan. So ako nga palakpak ako palakpak ako. In July yan, in July 2016. But there's another qualification. Naglabas din sila a month after na inventory of exceptions to Executive Order number 2 of series of 2016. Regarding the freedom of information executive order, there are several information na hindi mo pa rin pwedeng hingin. So ano ba yung mga yan? Merong 9 categories. Parang si Efren Bata Reyes nga kamot Okay, so all information here cannot be accessed. Yes, it still cannot be accessed. If the information covered the executive privilege, the president, kunwari si GMA, in her transactions with CTN, naalala niyo yon, yung Chinese dealings with the broadband, National Broadband Project, bawal nating malaman yon. What were the transactions involved between the president and other government agencies or other dealings, hindi natin pwedeng malaman. Privileged information relating to national security, defense, or international relations, we cannot. Information concerning law enforcement, protection of public and personal safety, well, for safety reasons, lalo na pag ongoing pa rin yung mga operations, they will not divulge it. And these are valid, qualifications, exceptions to the freedom of information. And under EO2, there's an express provision also regarding respect for privacy rights. Pati dito sa invented exception, nakasama siya. Protection of the privacy of persons, lalo na sa minors, victims of crimes, or the accused. Information, documents, or records known by reason of official capacity, no, as confidential, we cannot also access that. Mga prejudicial premature disclosure, this refers to information, no, that if disclosed, no, would cause prejudice to other person. Tulad na lang ng mga insider trading, no? Hindi mo pwedeng malaman yun kung sino yung mag-IPO bigla or kung ano yung gagawin ng SSS. There was a news, no, last year na kumita daw yung mga directors ng isang GOCC ng gobyerno dahil alam nila kung kailan magbebenta ng stocks for the certain GOCCs. Bawal yung mga ganong disclosure. Bawal, no, magkakaroon ka ng mga insider trading. Yung mga records of proceedings treated as confidential, no? Ito mga catch-all phrases eh. So basically pag sinabi ng gobyerno na it's covered under inventive exceptions, wala ka ring magagawa, no? So despite the efforts, medyo may inventive exception eh. So hindi full yung freedom of information. In fact, when Attorney De Leon, balik lang ako dun sa kanina, when he filed the case against Duterte regarding health disclosure, no? He filed a letter of request regarding the health, ganun-ganon. At sinabi lang na yun ay hindi covered ng freedom of information. No? Matters considered confidential under banking and finance laws, hindi mo rin yan pwedeng ma-access pa. No? Other exceptions to the right to information under laws, jurisprudence, rules and regulations, marami po sila. No? Ang example ko nga dito, sige, moving forward na lang. No? So, we have this data privacy versus freedom of information. Are they exclusive? No? Do they conflict with each other? And I think no. If the information is about you and you're protecting the disclosure, no, you invoke data privacy. No? But if you need other information, especially from the government, you need it, no? Lalo na dahil tayo isang democratic society, to make this society better, make our place a better place, better world for all of us. You need that information, you invoke your freedom of information. Kanina nga nag-aaway yung dalawa, no? But I think they're friends, no? Kailangan nilang magkasama lagi. When ang example ko sa class is the case of Mocha Uson, no? Can we know, no? Can we seek information regarding her salaries, no? And her official functions? Kaya ba nating alamin yon? Kailan, when was she hired, no? What was the government vehicle issued to her? We can know that through the freedom of information. Diba? Those are matters of public concern. The salary, the function, the appointment, those are matters of public concern. No? The people have the right to information, and that must be recognized. But when we want to know saan niya ginagamit yung sweldo niya, sino kaya yung kasama niya nung nag-date siya sa ganito, or nasaan siya pag weekends, and I think Mocha Uson would invoke her informational privacy. No? I have the right, no, for my information not to be disclosed, and much more, no, I have the right not to be subjected into surveillance or any unwanted intrusion into my private life. No? Yan ang pinagkaiba ng data privacy and freedom of information na nakikita ko. No? So, considering our rights and the threats, what are our roles, our information professionals? No? I'm just putting into context, no, our profession. I think with these rights and obligation and the daunting challenges, threats, we need to ensure freedom of access to information. Dapat alam natin kung ano yung mga karapatan natin yan. No? Be guardians of right to privacy. Ensure that our profession will not be used to malign other people. Baka na ginagamit na pala yung opisina mo to research information, no? To file something against that person. That should not be done. No? That should not be allowed. We should adhere to principles of intellectual freedom. Let's allow, no, our collections to be used, to be accessed para magkaroon ng meaningful discussion. Ano ba talaga ang magandang mangyari sa bayan ito? And we should be active component in good governance. No? And we reassert our role in educating citizens because we provide the venues for this discussion. No? And we should support policy shift or initiatives that will promote the right to privacy and the freedom of information. And let's make our venues, no, as venues for promotion of information rights. So basically, that's it. No? Yan lang yung gusto kong i-share for this afternoon. No? And I hope we can share this with other persons. Sabi ko nga, gather the light and let's scatter them. No? Pag hindi nyo na lang alam yung pag-uwi ninyo and some would ask, oh, anong gagawin ko? Ganito, may ganito. Regarding privacy rights. Pag hindi mo alam sagot, lagi kong sinasabi, magmahal. No? It's still applicable, no? Dahil kailan nga daw ba naging mali ang pagmamahal? Anyway, kidding aside, no? That's my sharing for this afternoon. I hope we share something new. I hope I have shared meaningful knowledge for everyone. And thank you, UPSLIS. Sir PJ, back to you.
Maraming salamat, Attorney Pioro. Tama ka, no? Sorry, hindi kami nakapagpadala ng drinks because mahaba-habang inuman nga talaga to and discussion. Actually, we already have a lot of questions waiting, but before we go there, I just would like to, again, thank you, Attorney Pioro. Sa ating mga listeners, if you have any questions for our speaker, you can go to menti.com and key in the code 5265664. Again, for those of you who've just joined us, this is Huwag, Kang, Pahuhuli. This is data privacy and freedom of information, sabi nga ni Attorney, organized by the UP School of Library and Information Studies. For questions, again, you may post it by going to menti.com and typing in the code 5265664. Please check the previously posted questions and vote questions that you would like to be prioritized. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page, UPSLIS, where this video is currently being streamed. That's UPSLIS on YouTube and Facebook. While we're waiting for questions, I would like to announce something new and exciting that our faculty will be launching soon. On the 20th of January, we will have our Library and Information Center Management Series entitled Coffee Break, Reflections and Conversations. For the first episode, our management faculty members will talk about management of libraries and information centers in the time of the pandemic with esteemed speakers from various types of libraries and information centers in the Philippines to share their experiences in managing their libraries during this time. So please watch out for this new and exciting web series. I believe we have a short teaser. Please check this out. Okay, so that looks exciting. So please check that out. We would also like to congratulate Professor Ira Benroso Cabab, Professor Johan Frederick Cabab, and Professor Mark Anthony Santos for publishing the first issue of the 40th volume of the Philippine Journal of Librarianship and Information Studies with the editorial entitled New Agenda for the New Normal. You may download the free copy of the PHJLIS by going to phjlis.org. That's phjlis.org. You may also submit your articles by logging into the same website, or if you have any inquiries, you may send your email to editor@phjlis.org. We would also like to thank those who have purchased the UPSLIS coffee table book. We are now down to our last 12 copies, so hurry and reserve yours now. You can order at bit.ly/SLISCTB. That's bit.ly/SLISCTB. We also want to know your best, funniest, weirdest, oddest, scariest, happiest moments in SLIS through a project called hashtag I Remember. So if you have something that you want to share, please go to upslis.info/I Remember. And also, the UP-SLIS is still accepting donations for the construction and renovation of the new SLIS building. For any donations, you may coordinate by sending an email to admin@slis.upd.edu.ph. And finally, to ensure that every BLIS student is equipped with the required tools and gadgets for remote learning, the UP-LIS Alumni Association is introducing the Kaagapay project for UP-BLIS students. This is in support of the program of the UP system, Kaagapay sa Pag-aaral ng Scholar ng Bayan. You may donate in cash or in kind to help our BLIS students who may be struggling with remote learning. You may send your inquiries to uplsaa.inc@gmail.com. That's uplsaa.inc@gmail.com. Okay, so at this juncture, I believe we have burning questions for Attorney Pioro. So, Attorney, ready ka na ba?
Sige. Ready, ready.
Okay. So I know you mentioned some issues earlier, no, mga napapanahong issues, and it's very relevant because some of our audience actually asked for those. So first, siguro you can answer this very shortly, or you can also provide a further explanation. Is red tagging a violation of privacy? So that's one of our first questions.
Yes. Short answer is yes. No,
Mhm.
it violates your right to privacy. If we can recall, no, yung right to privacy, yung isang strand niyan ay yung informational privacy. You have the right, no, for your information not to be disclosed, but ito yung like yung sinasabi, the second one, no, is your right not to be subjected to any surveillance. No? So kung nagkakaroon ng red tagging sa'yo, there are proper venues for them to file whatever case is necessary. Pero yung sinasabihan ka na ganito yung affiliation mo, saan nanggagaling yun? No? That's a wrong information about you kung mali man talaga. And you have the right to rectify it. No? You have the right to have that information be distracted. No? Mali kasi. Kung meron ng kayong information na nagkaroon ng maling assumptions, ibig sabihin, I am under surveillance. Di ba? You're intruding into my private life. Paano mo nalaman yun? Baka nagkakaroon ng wiretapping, sinusundan ka, no? Kung wala mang red tagging, kung wala mang basis yung red tagging, mas lalong masama. Saan nanggaling yung information about me? No? That connects me to the CPP or to the NDF, di ba? Ano yung information na yun? And you can actually file for a habeas data, no? Requesting the court order them to release that information about me. Saan nanggagaling yun? Di ba? So, again, short answer, yes. It's a violation of your privacy right. No? Your information is being disclosed or you are being subjected into surveillance na hindi naman dapat.
Okay, maraming salamat, Attorney, especially now na medyo delikado yung climate, no, when especially for those who are being red tagged. So thank you for answering that question. We have another question here that is also currently is also a current issue. Attorney, may na-violate po ba sa pag-share sa Facebook ng autopsy of Miss Lucena?
Yan no. Hindi ko pa nakikita yung autopsy report, but if you have read yung Data Privacy Act, any medical information are considered sensitive personal information. At yan hindi dapat na di-disclose, no? Except for the exceptions provided under the law. At ang pinaka magandang lusot dyan, dapat there must be consent. Patay na yon, paano magko-consent yon? Or yung family niya, for sure, di ba? Lalo na siya na under investigation pa, for sure, walang consent yun. So ang aking short answer, no, there might be a violation at unless nagkaroon na ng consent. I am not aware of the full circumstances of the case, but assuming that there is no consent, that is a sensitive personal information, that's a medical information, no? Hindi dapat basta-basta dinidisclose. Ang general rule ko, sorry, medyo mag-explore. Ang general rule ay non-disclosure pag private information unless inobliga ka ng batas, no? There's a legal obligation, no? Or there is consent. Yan lang yung mga pwede kang mag-divulge. Parang dun sa example kanina, si Miss Hikain, yung librarian, na nilapitan ng police, may nag-suicide kasi, so we need the information. General rule, walang disclosure unless meron kang search warrant or something. Hindi ko ipapakita yan. Sensitive personal information. Even the parents. Diba? Even the parents. Medyo alanganing bigay. So, yun. Short answer, may violation ng privacy yan.
I see. Maraming salamat sa paglilinaw nun, attorney. Quick question, ano ba nangyayari sa isang tao kapag namatay siya? Sino ba yung, meron bang nagmamana ng kanyang mga data rights?
Oh, magandang tanong yan. It's under the IRR Data Privacy Act, no, under RA 10175, yung data transmissibility. Namamana yan. Ang yung data ay considered na as assets. Actually, pwede mo nga i-transfer yan ngayon eh. No? Isama mo sa mga last will and testament mo, lalo na kung vlogger ka, sikat ka na ganito, di ba?
Mhm.
Yung, ang tawag dito, yung materials mo, your data, pwede yang i-transmit na. That can be assigned to your heirs. So, short answer, yes. May ganoong provision sa batas na pwede na siyang i-transfer.
Ayun, pwede mo pala ipamana yung mga Facebook account mo, no? Especially kung marami kang followers.
Oo. Hindi ko lang alam yung specific provision sa Facebook, but considering nasa Pilipinas tayo, we will follow the laws on succession sa Pilipinas. Kung wala kang heirs, kung wala kang will, pupunta yan automatically and the state proceedings sa mga heirs mo yan mapupunta.
Okay. Maraming salamat, attorney. Dumadating pa yung mga questions dito and a lot of the questions are really about current issues. So there's another question here. Should the use of intelligence funds be divulged to the general public?
Unang-una, I would like to apologize for the very short lecture kasi considering na ito ay isang semester talaga inaaral, no? So maraming mga intricacies pa ang data privacy at ang freedom of information. So kailangan mas malalim pa, no? If you want, I can give materials, no, for us to read para magkaroon pa ng malalim na in-depth discussion regarding the question intelligence fund. First, di ba? It's a moral obligation. That's a public fund, di ba? Public funds 'yan, and we are entitled kahit presidente ka pa, no? Sabi nga kasi hindi daw yan covered ng audit, no? But that is a matter of public concern. Saan napupunta yung pera na 'yon, no? Medyo may argument sa parehas eh. Intelligence fund nga yan that would not be subjected to audit, no? Ang pinanggagalingan naman natin, yung right to information on matters of public concern ng citizen must be recognized. We need to know saan napupunta yung money. So, ang short answer ko, no, we can find ways for that to be accessed, no, if we want to. Kung gusto, may paraan eh. Kung ayaw, may dahilan. May dahilan.
Oo nga. I like the answer, no? It's a moral obligation kasi especially kung malaki talaga yung intelligence funds, di ba?
Take note that the spike in intelligence funds very high. Talagang taas ng inano nila ng intelligence funds. Saan nagagamit yan? Pera ng taong bayan yan. Di ba? At kung meron kang moral authority, moral ascendancy, no, you should be obliged to divulge saan ba napunta yan.
I agree. Maraming salamat, attorney. So sa mga issues locally, meron namang tayong question that is an issue abroad, especially sa US. So there's a question here that says President Trump is filing a case against the Secretary General of Georgia because of the recently released phone call where Trump was demanding for 11,000 votes. Was Trump's privacy violated? I believe this is about the recorded phone call of Donald Trump that was released just a few days ago. I don't know the complete issue, but releasing of phone calls of presidents, meron po bang violation sa privacy dito?
Recently, the news in the United States was released and President Trump was discovered ordering an official in Georgia to find votes to overturn the result of the election. We have that similar incident. If you remember the Hello Garci,
Yeah.
Di ba? Si GMA, di ba? Asking the COMELEC, no, to make sure that he'll win in Maguindanao or in Mindanao.
Mhm.
Fortunately, no, I'm not really that abreast of U.S. laws, no? But considering that we only adopted, the principles of U.S. laws and jurisprudence, they also apply the exclusionary rule that states all evidence obtained in violation, of the right to privacy of
Mhm.
communication correspondence shall be held inadmissible in any proceeding and for whatever purpose. So bawal yon. There's a breach for sure. And I don't know lang kung paano na-release. No? And there's a case for that. Kung sa atin, the wiretapping act, sigurado nagkaroon ng breach. No? At kung ikaw ay makikilala through your voice, that data is a personal information because your identity can be ascertained. So, yung information na yun na process, at naipalabas, there's tawag dito, unconsented processing or yung access. I think President Trump has grounds to file a case against the illegal disclosure, no? And it's actually, kung titingnan mo, pwedeng i-consider na malicious disclosure. Well, alam naman na kasi natin yung politics sa United States. So yun, no? Yung short answer, President Trump can file a case, no? Even the intent is good.
Mhm.
Even the intention is good. Alam naman natin yan, para mga PSG guards lang natin, di ba?
Dapat tamang paraan pa din.
Yes, justified. And lagi nga natin sinasabi, we are a government of laws and not of men. We follow the rules. We follow the rules. Otherwise, it will open a floodgate. Nako, di lahat na lang kanya-kanya because everything can be justified. Everything can be justified.
I see. Maraming salamat, attorney.
Sige.
Ayun, so from abroad, balik naman tayo sa this is more on an issue for the LIS profession. So there's a question here, Attorney Pioro, as a librarian, how can we safeguard the privacy of our library clients when a parent or teacher, for example, asks for the list of items borrowed or items searched for their child or student?
Just like what I have stated earlier, the general rule is non-disclosure of these details. No?
Mhm.
Maalala mo nung mga bata tayo, di ba? Paborito ko, pag umiram ako ng libro, I will look, yung dun the library card and I will know who have borrowed that book. No? So later on, makikita mo yung profile, I share the same interest with this person. Little by little yung information na yun nabubuo eh. No? Kung ang parents, kung minor yan, pwede pa siguro nating pagbigyan, no? Pero ako ang lagi kong pinupush, it's non-disclosure unless may warrant or may consent. No? For your protection, hingi nilang po kayo, ma'am, hingi or sir, hingi lang po tayo ng consent, no? Sa anak ninyo. Pero kung patay na, syempre, sorry, no? It can be argued that the data rights have been transmitted to the parents, then there's a chance na that would be possible. Kung ako, non-disclosure talaga. Tulad ng yung example ko kanina, di ba? Yung pinopost kung sino yung si Molotov bomb, si nagkakaroon ng disclosure eh. Tapos baka magkaroon ng reputation or false assumption against that person.
I see. So it is better to really stick with the non-disclosure kasi very private nga naman yung mga search history and yung mga information na hinihiram ng mga students natin, especially if minor. Attorney, meron ditong I think this is kind of an interesting question. Okay lang ba na ipagbawal ang anonymous or alter accounts sa Twitter and Facebook kasi sila daw yung madalas na mga trolls?
Actually, I share that sentiment, no? Na hiding under the power of anonymity. Diyan lumalabas yung kanilang mga courage to post something wrong, no? And we have this obligation to be truthful with one another. No? Pero yan ay under the domain nitong mga online social networks na yan, no? And I really don't know, no? And sinasabi kasi ng batas, what's not prohibited is allowed. Sa ngayon, wala pa tayong batas na nagsasabi na bawal yung mga ganyan.
I see.
No? Wala eh. Wala kang nagsasabi na... In fact, even naman yung mga name profiles, we're not even sure if that is the same person. Di ba? There's a doubt in
May
the
mga social
identity.
media manager, di ba?
Mga social media manager pala. Kaya ang hirap mag-prosecute ng mga cybercrimes. Kasi yung identity, madaling ano eh. It's very easy to put cloud, no? Magkaroon ng doubt doon sa mga profiles na yan. Again, yung short answer, hindi kayang pagbawal eh. Kasi wala naman tayong batas. Siguro sa Korea or China pwede. Pero sa atin medyo, no? Lalo na kung nag-ano sa intellectual freedom, na you need to access all information, kahit yung mga conspiracy theories na yan. I need to know them. Totoo bang flat ang earth? I just want to hear their side. No? Would you prohibit the person, no? Would you stop that person to access that information? Lalo na tayo ay, di ba? More on, hindi tayo nagsisensor eh. Di ba? Let us provide all the information to that person so that he can have an informed consent, no? Or be well informed to make the necessary decisions. So that's it, no? Again, I share the sentiment. Sana bawal yung mga ganun, but there's no law prohibiting that, no? And I think that would be very difficult to pass unless the Congress sees to it that it is very necessary.
I see. Thank you for shining a light on that issue. Kasi kahit ako, ayokong nakakakita ng mga anonymous trolls eh. But it also, in a way, encourages yung parang freedom of speech. So medyo, it's like a delicate, fine line talaga. Mahirap siya.
Yes.
Attorney, meron pa tayong few questions here. Another question is, what could information professionals do to make their clients more aware of how they are protecting client rights?
Unang-una, kahit simpleng poster nga lang sa library that these are your rights as data subject, no? That would be a very excellent first move, no? That we are in compliant with RA 10173 or the Data Privacy Act. These are your rights, no? If you have questions, please ask our data protection officer, no? So, post mo lang yon. That will be a very great step na sa institution mo na if you have concern regarding your data, we are very willing to answer that. Now, we are in compliance with Data Privacy Act. Ito po ang yung mga rights, no? To be informed. No? That would be the first, no? Kahit sa mga newsletter lang, no? Mga simple privacy policy, let them know that there is a privacy policy, no, for that library. At ang number one priority is privacy and confidentiality.
Okay. We have another question here, pero nakakatuwa kasi meron ding sumagot from our audience. So the question is about an archive institution receiving a donation of hundreds of letters containing national artists' personal and art-related info. So how should an archive decide which to make available to the public and keep private? So one of our audience recommended na it's going to be between the archive and the donor, between the deed of donation. So, do you agree with this, attorney?
Well, may mga ganun kasing interplay yan, may mga dynamics si donor na ito lang papakita mo. Pero ang layo nga nating pinagtatalunan, no, dun sa mga articles na nababasa natin sa librarianship. Are we going for selection or censorship? Diba? Magkaiba kasi siya eh. No? Kung yung purpose mo is to select the best materials for your audience, then that is selection. But if your purpose mo is to keep something from this audience, then that is censorship. Medyo kung tayo nagkaka-problema. Kung ang issue mo lang kasi due to space limitations and time limitations, ito lang kaya namin i-present. So we will present the best. If you want to access all other materials, ito po sila. And that is selection. Wala kang sinesensure. Walang censorship. But if you're making the discretion, no, the decision, huwag mong pakita to kasi hindi pa sa boss natin to or sa donor natin to. And I think that's bad. It violates the intellectual freedom which mandates us to create an environment wherein all information can be accessed by all individuals and let him or her make decision regarding that issue. So, ang sagot ko, depende sa dynamics pero ang general rule, sana ay free access sa lahat. Free
Yes,
access.
so meron pa rin tayong guiding principle na universal sa mga archives institution.
Lalo
Ayun.
na, I'm sorry, I'm
Mhm.
not part of the archiving institution, pero based lang doon sa aking mga legal obligations, I think just provide the access, let them decide kung kailangan bang protektahan or alagaan, bahal na sila, malaki na sila.
Oo nga, sir, may nag-comment nga din na it's on their code of ethics. So I think it's also will be their guiding principle. Attorney, wala na tayong question dito, but I'm just curious, no? Ano ba yung status ng mga here in the Philippines? Do we need more lawyers who will promote privacy and security here in the Philippines? Kailangan na kailangan ba natin? Mas marami bang mga cases na hindi pa nasosolve? Ano bang kalagayan dito sa Pilipinas?
Well, yung status na nabanggit kanina, there are several threats talaga, no? With the advent of the data-intensive systems, mga Google, yung mga, kahit na sa government, yung mga ID system, no? Sobrang laki ng information na nakukuha. And it gives opportunity to several criminal personalities na i-maximize yung mga data-intensive systems na yan. Ang ating data privacy profession ay very young. It's very young. No?
Mhm.
So kung kailangan ba talaga ng marami pang lawyers, kahit nga hindi lawyers, data protection officers lang, yes, we need them. Because the institutions protecting this data privacy, no, are very weak. Wala pang ngipin. May narinig ka na bang nakulong for violation of the Data Privacy Act? No, may bali-balita sa regional trial court na meron na nakulong. No?
Mhm.
Pero even the awareness, hindi pa alam ng mga tao. Di ba? So yun yung, kala nga iba, porque married persons na, their phones can be accessed. Not that I am protecting the spouses.
Mhm.
Pero the mere awareness of your privacy rights very important. And there are still a lot of issues, no, in policy, implementation, no, sa data privacy. We need more persons. Lalo na, I think we're not going back naman to the old ages. We're just moving forward, no. The digital transformation, the highway to the digital world, no, is very wide. Doon lahat papunta. And sinasabi nga nila, the 90% of all information ay nabuo lang these recent years. Diba? How much more pumaparating pa? We need more data protection officers. We need more lawyers to strengthen this right, make the institutions accountable, and make them very strong to enforce our rights.
Ayun. Okay, maraming salamat, attorney. So narinig niyo yun, especially to our LIS students. Mag-take kayo ng LIS 120 and 121 ni Sir Pioro. We need more data protection officers and lawyers who will help promote data privacy and freedom of information. So at this point, attorney, we will now award the certificate of appreciation to our speaker. Again, I would like to thank you for answering all of our viewers' questions, and we wish you success in all of your career endeavors. Let me just read the certificate. So it says the University of the Philippines School of Library and Information Studies presents this certificate of appreciation to Attorney Rolly Francis P. Pioro for delivering his valuable webinar entitled Huwag Kang Pahuhuli, Data Privacy versus Freedom of Information as part of the 2020 UP School of Library and Information Studies lecture series in celebration of its 59th anniversary. Given this 6th day of January 2021 at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Quezon City, signed Rhea Rowena U. Apolinario, head of the SLIS Road to 60 Committee, and Mary Grace P. Golfo, Barcelona, Dean. So, attorney, ito po yung inyong
Thank
certificate.
you. Thank you. Yan.
Yan.
Okay.
Okay, nakuha na ni attorney.
Ang
Okay.
bilis, ang bilis ng LBC natin.
Oo.
Thank you,
Digital na.
UPSLIS. It's my honor to give this lecture. I hope we learn many things, new learnings, and sana maging agents tayo nitong data privacy and freedom of information. Ayun. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, again, thank you so much, Attorney Pioro. To all our viewers, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all had meaningful takeaways from this webinar. Thank you too to our SLIS faculty for making this event possible. Special shout out to Professor Nathan Isip and Professor Mark Santos for handling the tech side of this event, and to Professor Johan Frederick Cabab and Mr. Dridge Paul Reyes for their work on the graphics and publicity materials. Please don't forget to register using the link to be shown on screen to receive your certificates. If you missed portions of this webinar, you may rewatch it as a Facebook video or check our YouTube channel at UPSLIS for updates on our upcoming activities. Please follow us at our official Facebook page, UPSLIS, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/UPSLIS, or visit our website, slis.upd edu.ph. And that wraps up our first webinar for 2021. Please join us for another installment in our Webinar Wednesday series. Our next feature is called Happily Ever After. Is your Prince Charming? So, this will be a talk about children's literature and young adult literature with Professor Johan Frederick Cabab. This is happening on the 3rd of February at 2 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. And don't forget to check our new series starting on January 20th. New series is called Coffee Break: Reflections and Conversations, which will discuss issues in managing libraries and information centers with Professor Rhea Rowena Polinario, Professor Dan Anthony Dorado, Professor Janice Ormieda, and Mr. Paul Dredge Reyes. Once again, this is Paul Jason Perez, your host and moderator, wishing you all the best. See you on our next webinar.
Thank you.